can't see me. I'm going to have to change the lighting.
Oh, no.
I'm sorry.
Oh, we have a guest here. We have Angie. Say hi, Angie.
There we go.
Say hello again, Angie. And we have one other guest, too.
Ha
Our daughter!
Woo! That's so awesome, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
Round 2. Hell yeah. Woo.
Fight.
I lost the phone. I was gonna say hi to people.
Getting this stuck in my mask.
Okay, technical issues, guys. Technical issues. Yeah. So, welcome everybody to Halloween. This is Mother de la Morte show. We're just intruding.
Just like a bunny of chaos to do so. Oh,
Yeah.
Oh, and some kid that Odd Daughter like invited to the party we had earlier. Like his name is, what was his name again? Goober or something. He's like, I don't know, some sort of the like Eldritch Terror or something or another. I don't know. He doesn't say a
wrong
whole lot.
one. I didn't mean to put me up.
He doesn't say a whole lot. So he's kind of creepy.
I love him. Hi, Adam. Thank you. Mine's not a mask. But thanks.
It's not a mask either.
This is a mask for me.
No,
Really. It's
That's the
pleasure.
mask.
I put it on every day.
The crazy thing is you can't tell if I'm talking or not because I have no mouth.
That's true.
Going over to Psycho Bantian.
Yay.
All right. So let's do this, guys.
All right. So
Woo!
happy Hallows Eve, everybody.
Indeed.
Yes, it's Devil's Night.
It is Devil's Night. We made devil's food cake.
That counts.
It does count. It does count.
It does.
So are you guys excited? Is everybody excited? I am so excited. This is my favorite time of year.
Same.
Oh, it's nice. It's really nice.
Thank you.
It's been a long season this season. Actually, there's a lot of, I think, well, we technically saw started back in June.
I was like, yeah, no, it's been a really long season for me.
Yep.
This is all just one giant season for me year round. So it's just it's shouting. It's Monday, Sunday. It's Sunday.
I'm really sore from the hot last
Sunday. Oh, I can't do that, can I? That's copyright.
Sunday.
Sábado.
Meow.
Stephen P. Kitty Cat. Moneybags. Moneybags is in the house.
Moneybags, the kitty cat.
Hey.
Hello, Angie.
Yes, and guys, just to make that announcement, I know we already kind of made it sort of somewhat privately, publicly, blah, 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 blah. But great news. We've been working at this for years, and we finally incorporated, guys. We are legit.
Woo!
Woo!
You
Yeah.
can
We
do
even
it.
have a bank account now.
We can have a bake sale, is that what you said?
No, we even have a bank account now.
Oh, I heard
I mean,
that too. I was like, we can have a
We
bake
can do a
sale.
bake sale too. I
Have
can
a
make
bake
some
sale
bakes.
right now.
We
Hello,
could have
hi.
a bank sale.
Hey guys, we can have a bake sale now.
How much
Yay.
THC am I allowed to put in the brownies for this bake sale?
Take my
Just
money.
enough so they buy
Take my
everything
money.
else and eat it too.
In California, you can put all of it. I don't know.
All the THCs.
All of it.
All right, so we're here tonight, guys, with all my party crashers, which I absolutely love. So excited to do kind of a traditional thing. I know that Christmas and Yule is kind of the time for ghost stories and things like that, but I always enjoy doing that at Samhain or Halloween as well. So we came together tonight to share some spooky stories, kind of get everybody in the mood if for some oddball reason you're not already. And we'll go ahead and start if you guys are ready.
Always.
All right, awesome.
What you know?
Behave,
What?
okay?
There's a devil
Bunny of
here.
chaos.
There's
Hey!
a hey.
Hey,
Some
Scott.
Godzillas. God.
All right,
Godzilla.
so Halloween may have its beginnings in the pre-Christian Celtic festival of Samhain. the most important of the cross-quarter festivals, which mark the transition from one season to another. Samhain falls on the eve of the first day of winter, a time when animals returned from the fields and great bonfires were lit, rumored to scare away evil spirits that lurked in the landscape. The origins of the festival may never truly be known. Much of our knowledge comes from early Irish sagas, which weren't written down until the 9th or 12th centuries, after Christianity, of course, had reached their shores. And I quote, "Autumn was traditionally seen as a dark and mysterious time when the veil between the worlds is thin. It's a time when the light of summer begins to fade and the darkness creeps in, along with reflections on the more shady side of life." Now, that was by D.D. Cheney. She's author of Treasury of British Folklore. Now, throughout the world, festivals at this time of year are not uncommon. In Scotland, the Isle of Man, and in Ireland, October 31st marks the end of summer and welcomes the dark half of the year. The Welsh Halloween is called, and I'm going to do my best because it looks Gaelic, Nos Clan Geref. It is believed that the wild hunt rides high at this time. Go ahead.
Oh, it doesn't sound close enough to me.
Yeah, I tried to roll my tongue. I don't know if that helped.
It can hurt. I mean,
It sounded more legit. So the spectral hounds, and I quote, "The spectral hounds of the Welsh underworld are led across the skies. Anyone who hears the clamor of the hunt on the wind is said to be destined to die." And that is also by D.D. Cheney. Now, Halloween is a time when common superstitions, folklore, myths, and omens seem to carry more weight due to a thinning of the wall between the physical and the supernatural worlds. It is the fear of the unknown and what might be waiting for us in the dark. And that's what we're going to tell stories about tonight.
Spoopy.
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 Spoopy. So who wants to start?
Spoopy.
Brad?
Brad?
Who wants to do rat? I got something.
You can do it.
I got something I can read real fast.
Okay.
From
Hexus. Hexus, okay.
Okay, Jerry. Okay.
whatever you want.
Well, all I'm saying, okay, I found this tale a long time ago that actually really inspired me. That is actually the beginning of Halloween, because it originally Halloween started back in 1978 with Danzig, with the Misfits. There was no Halloween.
It's exactly when it started.
It did.
This must be Hexus's horror, history lesson. Okay.
Yeah. It's Danzig is the one who summoned me into existence back, 4,000 or 5,000 years ago during the Roman Empire and stuff like that. But here is praise be to he, the prophet of shortness and kitty litter. Because I love Danzig. Actually, I'm not gonna lie. But
okay.
So.
Wow.
Bonfires burning bright, pumpkin faces in the night. I remember Halloween. Dead cats hanging from poles. Little dead are out. Okay. Little dead are out in droves. I remember Halloween. Brown leafed vertigo, where skeleton life is known. I remember Halloween. This day anything goes. Burning bodies hanging from poles. I remember Halloween. Halloween. Whoa, Halloween. Candy apples and razor blades. Little dead are soon in graves. I remember Halloween. This day, anything goes. Burning bodies hanging from poles. I remember Halloween. Whoa.
Whoa.
And I quote, Whoa. Dancing.
Whoa.
Whoa!
Ow! Ow!
Sorry.
I mean, good
It
job,
came
but ow.
It just came out. Sorry.
Good job, but
He just
ow.
opens his mouth and words jump out. It's how
Whoa.
speaking
Whoa.
works.
Whoa.
Dancing just says whoa a lot.
Whoa!
Actually, I like that. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, I love Danzig lyrics.
He's over here going okay while I'm laughing. I'm like, really?
Because I have to get serious for Danzig.
How do you get serious for Danzig? And Danzig is a midget on roids.
Danzig is a badass.
He was
Well,
almost Wolverine.
Tell your mother to buy kitty litter. He would have been awesome as Wolverine. It would have been a really short Wolverine, but
You mean? It
Well, I
would've been
mean,
an accurate
Wolverine was.
Wolverine?
Yeah, he is really short.
He was 5'4". Wolverine is 5'5".
Yeah,
Or
and
yeah.
no, he's like 5'3" or something like that.
So just
yeah, he's
just
my
like,
height.
So
like that
he
much difference. Like I
Yeah,
split
he-
your head that much difference.
he was under contract for it completely. He was like one of the first couple picks they had, and then ended up turning it down because he didn't want to get typecasted. But yet put out an
doesn't
album
act.
called. But he put out an album I know, but at the time he thought he would. But he put out this album actually called Entombed that has him dressed as Wolverine on the cover of it.
Well,
Danzig is 5'6".
he did write his Witchblade comic where he is Wolverine in it, and all that stuff. Sorry, but let's not get into that. I'm gonna go off on it. For
I was
hours.
just going to shut my mouth because it was going to just happen. If we start talking about Danzig, this one's going to keep going.
It was this
Danzig was
Halloween
Godzilla.
costume. That's the relevance.
Why is this not working for me? What?
Oh,
Why are you poking me?
Dun, dun, dun.
so
I'm trying to pull my stuff up. I can't.
oh,
It's not letting me.
Do you want me to go into a story while you're looking it up? Unless Raz has already got
Yeah.
something pulled up.
I mean, I have it now. It just wouldn't let me click.
Okay.
But Raz has something cool.
I've got the Raven and like a million stories, but I can do
Yeah.
the Raven first if you guys want.
Yeah.
Yes.
Hold on, get my cigarette ready because I feel like I don't know. There's some things that go better with a cigarette. Not that I don't smoke all the time anyway, but it's for the pauses. You know?
First
All right.
flight.
The Raven by Edgar Allan Poe. Once upon a midnight dreary, while I pondered, weak and weary, over a many quaint and curious volume of forgotten lore, while I nodded, nearly napping, suddenly there came a tapping, as of someone gently rapping at my chamber door. "'Tis some visitor," I muttered, tapping in my chamber door. Only this, and nothing more. Ah, distinctly I remember, it was in the bleak December, and each separate dying ember wrought its ghost upon the floor. Eagerly I wished the morrow, vainly I had sought to borrow from my book surcease of sorrow, for the lost Lenore. For the rare and radiant maiden whom the angels named Lenore, nameless here, forevermore. And the silken, sad, uncertain rustling of each purple curtain thrilled me, filled me with fantastic terrors never felt before, so that now, to still the beating of my heart, I stood repeating, to some visitor entreating entrance at my chamber door. Some late visitor entreating entrance at my chamber door. This is it, and nothing more. Presently my soul grew stronger, hesitating then no longer. "Sir," said I, "or madam, truly your forgiveness I implore. But the fact is, I was napping, and so gently you came rapping, and so faintly you came tapping in my chamber door, that I scarce was sure I heard you. Here I opened wide the door. Darkness there, and nothing more. Deep into that darkness peering, long I stood there, wondering, fearing, doubting, dreaming dreams no mortal ever dared to dream before. But the silence was unbroken, and the stillness gave no token, and the only word there spoken was the whispered word, Lenore. This I whispered, and an echo murmured back the word, Lenore. Merely this and nothing more. Back into the chamber turning, all my soul within me burning, soon again I heard a tapping somewhat louder than before. "Surely," said I. "Surely that is something in my window lattice. Let me see, then, what there is in this mystery explore. Let my heart be still a moment in this mystery explore. 'Tis the wind, and nothing more. Open here I flung the shutter when, with many a flirt and flutter, and there stepped the stately raven of the saintly days of yore. Not the least obeisance made he, not a minute stopped or stayed he, but with mien of lord or lady perched above my chamber door, perched upon a bust of Pallas just above my chamber door, perched and sat, and nothing more. Then this ebony bird beguiling my sad fancy into smiling by the grave and stern decorum of the countenance it wore. Though thy crest be shorn and shaven, thou, I said, art sure no craven, ghastly grim and ancient raven wandering from the nightly shore. Tell me what thy lordly name is on the night's Plutonian shore. Quoth the raven, nevermore. Much I marveled this ungainly fowl to hear discourse so plainly, though its answer little meaning, little relevancy bore. For we cannot help agreeing that no living human being ever yet was blessed with seeing bird above his chamber door. Bird or beast upon with sculptured bust above his chamber door, with such a name as Nevermore. But the raven, sitting lonely on the placid bust, spoke only that one word, as if his soul in that one word he did outpour. Nothing farther than he uttered, not a feather then he fluttered, till I scarcely more than muttered, other friends have flown before, on the morrow he will leave me, as my hopes have flown before. Then that bird said, Nevermore. Startled at the stillness, broken by a reply, so aptly spoken. Doubtless, said I, what utters its only stock and store, caught from some unhappy master, whom unmerciful disaster followed fast and followed faster, till his songs one burden bore, till the dirges of his hope that melancholy burden bore, of nevermore. But the raven still beguiling all my fancy into smiling, straight I wheeled a cushioned seat in front of bird, and bust, and door. Then upon the velvet sinking, I betook myself to linking fancy unto fancy, thinking, with this ominous bird of yore, what is grim, ungainly, ghastly, gotten, ominous bird of yore meant in croaking, Nevermore? This I sat engaged in guessing, but no syllable expressing, to the fowl whose fiery eyes now burned into my bosom's core. This and more I sat dividing, with my head at ease reclining, on the cushion's velvet lining that the lamplight gloated o'er. But whose velvet lining the lamplight gloating o'er, she shall press, nevermore. Then methought, the air grew denser, perfumed from an unseen censer, swung by seraphim whose footfalls tinkled on the tufted floor. Wretch, I cried, thy God hath lent thee, by these angels he hath sent thee, respite, and nepenthe from thy memories of Lenore. Quaff, oh quaff, this kind nepenthe, and forgot this lost Lenore. Quoth the raven, Nevermore. Prophet, said I, thing of evil, prophet still, if bird or devil, whether tempter sent, or whether tempest tossed the here ashore. Desolate, yet all undaunted, on this desert land enchanted, on this home by Homer haunted. Tell me, truly, I implore, is there balm in Gilead? Tell me, I implore. Quoth the raven, Nevermore. Prophet, said I, thing of evil, prophet still, if bird or devil, by that heaven that bends above us, by that God we both adore, tell this soul with sorrow laden, if within the distant Aden, it shall clasp a saint and maiden whom the angels name Lenore. Clasp a rare and radiant maiden whom the angels name Lenore. Quoth the raven, Nevermore. Be that word our sign of parting, bird or fiend, I shrieked, upstarting, get thee back into the tempest in the night's Plutonian shore. Leave no black plume as a token of the lie thy soul hath spoken. Leave my loneliness unbroken. Quit the bust above my door. Take thy beak from out my heart, and take thy form from off my door. Quoth the raven, Nevermore. And the raven, never flitting, still is sitting on the pallid bust of Pallas, just above my chamber door. And his eyes have all the seeming of a demon that is dreaming, and the lamplight gloating o'er him streaming. There's a shadow on the floor, and my soul from out that shadow that lies there floating on the floor shall be lifted nevermore.
It's one of the best ones.
I'm like, yay!
That was amazing.
Thank
Will you read me a bedtime story sometime?
You'd be surprised how often I get that request. A lot of people probably don't know this, but I am actually considered a professional storyteller. I have licensing and everything.
That's cool.
That was amazing.
Otherwise, bravo!
Bravo!
Woo!
Except
Every time
once
you
in
said
chocolate milk.
Nevermore, I was like pulling up people's comments that said Nevermore. And then, of course, there is Otherwise Be Nevermore. And then there's...
I should just end it with Otherwise Be Nevermore.
Yeah. Very well done. Very well done.
Thank you guys.
Yes. All right.
Haha.
That's the second time I got to read that this year, and it's something that I try and do every single year. So this was a doubly awesome.
We do
Thank
too.
you
That's
guys.
why I was so stoked about it.
Well,
So I was like,
you know what I kept picturing in my head? Like some sort of like retro movie to where like it's late at night and Raz is like the DJ radio announcer reading to people late at night on Halloween night, smoking his cigarette with like a eerie orange light behind him, you know, and he's there all by himself. Kind of like Art Bell was like, you
Yeah.
know, the voice in the darkness type.
Yes.
It's
Thing.
funny because I've done that exact thing you're describing. I did a lot of radio here, like all over
Really?
town, college, professional stations, yeah. And I've gotten to do some, like, I got to do War of the Worlds 1 year, and that was fantastic.
I bet that was
That's freaking
amazing.
awesome.
And I'm over here going, do it a la Shatner.
I can, actually. Don't ask me why, but I can do anything as Shatner.
If you look in the private chat, I was like, do it a la Shatner.
Shit, if I'd have seen it earlier, man. I'll give you, like, part of a line. In my soul, from out that shadow that lies floating on the floor, shall be lifted never more. Stardate
Yeah.
666.
The best part about that is whenever Shatner is like being interviewed once, he's all, I don't talk like this at all.
Not once have I ever used dramatic pauses.
Dramatic. Pause.
Could you imagine
You know-
him as a kid? You know how they get to that age to where like their brain is moving faster than their mouth, and they try to explain something, and it takes them forever to get it out.
Oh
Could you
yeah.
imagine Shatner as a child?
Because
Just
Like,
get it out.
maybe it was the opposite. Maybe he talked so fast as a kid that he was in some kind of speech therapy that taught him to, like, put pauses to, like,
Slow down.
gather his thoughts, and it just kind of went the opposite way and just got stuck.
So we had a game on here for a while, and I want to bring it back. Shatner.
It's a game I play with a couple of my friends. Yeah, it's,
Anytime you yell Shatner, you suddenly have to overact anything you're doing, no matter what it is. Even if it's like ordering tacos at Taco Bell.
California.
That's perfect. We do need to bring that back.
Ugh.
Of course, my brain goes tacos because I'm in California. Duh.
Tacos.
Tacos. All right. I don't know if I can do this anymore. Hold on.
Well, you have to.
Oh, fine. Well, we're on a po kick, per
Okay.
usual.
We need a po' boy sandwich.
Hey, those are pretty good.
should we dig him up before we kick him? I mean,
You
it's Halloween.
know,
It is Devil's Night.
I wish I could find the book that I had called Classics Mutilated.
Hmm.
There was a mash together of The Doors and Poe. It was actually Jim Morrison meets The Raven.
It was one of Jim Morrison's lyrics were
Cool.
actually really good.
Hey, I like The Doors.
I love the Doors too,
I like
but
the Doors too.
he's got they're just too out there for me. The lyrics are.
I love them.
They're great. They're really great. I just don't understand them.
You're not really
That's
supposed
because
to.
he is the Lizard King and he can do anything.
Exactly.
It's so weird. So I was in a lot of bands growing up, and I was in 3 different cover bands in my life, and one of them was a Doors cover band, and I missed that band so much. That same band at one point in time started as a Billy Idol cover band, and then I got to sing Billy Idol all day. Then it was the Doors, and then we went to like Elvis for some reason for about a month after that.
Now
know
I
the
can
best
see the
part about
Doors and
all of
Elvis,
this?
but that's kind of a jump to from Billy Idol to the Doors.
You'd
The
be
best
surprised.
part about
It's
all
all in the
this?
same general vocal register, though. Like it's
Okay.
odd. It's just the way they hit the notes and do things is what's really different.
I'm picturing Raz dressing up as all these people too.
I did. In fact, yeah, it was part of the job. Like,
Yes.
all the hairstyles, all the.
Yes, the giant pompadour. Did you do like the exaggerated Elvis? Because that's my favorite.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Exaggerated
yeah.
Elvis.
You kind of had to do because it's
Uh-oh.
yeah.
Woo! I didn't know if that was on our end or what.
Wrestler didn't count.
Yeah, exaggerated Elvis is where it is.
There is no other.
Plus, you know, the sequins jumpsuit.
So would that be a
With a belt.
Shatner Elvis?
Shatner Elvis.
Yeah,
Shelvis?
Shelvis.
Elfner?
Shelvis.
Elfner.
Elfner.
I like Elfner better. That's a good one.
came up with the other day? I had one weird word that I came up with the other day, and I can't remember what it is. I think it was a combination of excited, nervous, and scared.
That sounds painful.
I was like, but I sent it to one of my friends, and he was like, I like this word. We will keep this word.
I've now added it to my vocabulary.
Yeah, basically. All right, let's do this. So we were doing some Edgar Allan Poe. It's spooky season. Woo! Devil's Night. And that's why you see an actual bunny of chaos in front of you, because we can appear now.
Yes.
So
they can manifest into physical form.
Exactly. Or we could just call it the updated bunny, but you know. This way I don't have to wear this stupid mask. What? So, Annabelle Lee by Edgar Allan Poe. It was many and many years ago, in a kingdom by the sea, that a maiden there lived whom you may know by the name of Annabelle Lee. And this maiden she lived with no other thought than to love and be loved by me. I was a child and she was a child in this kingdom by the sea. But we loved with a love that was more than love. I am Annabelle Lee. With a love that the winged seraphs of heaven coveted her and me. And this was the reason that long ago, in this kingdom by the sea, a wind blew out of a cloud, chilling my beautiful Annabelle Lee, so that her highborn kinsman came and bore her away from me, to shut her up in a sepulchre in this kingdom by the sea. The angels, not half so happy in heaven, went envying her and me. Yes, that was the reason, as all men know, in this kingdom by the sea, that the wind came out of the cloud that by night, chilling and killing my Annabelle Lee. But our love, it was stronger by far than the love of those who were older than we, of many far wiser than we. And neither the angels in heaven above, nor the demons down under the sea, can ever dissever my soul from the soul of the beautiful Annabelle Lee. For the moon never beams without bringing me dreams of the beautiful Annabelle Lee. And the stars never rise, but I feel the bright eyes of the beautiful Annabelle Lee. And so, all the night tide, I lie down by the side of my darling, my life and my bride, in her sepulchre there by the sea, in her tomb by the sounding sea. He was dark.
Yay!
He was
Yay!
depressed. Do you blame him though?
Well,
He
I
really,
love Poe stuff.
I do too, but
It was the Opium Man.
it was the opium. Have you guys seen Raven's Hollow yet?
No.
it's good.
It was good.
It's a fun one.
Now Netflix is supposed to be having and it's got Christian Bale in it. He'll be starring in it in January, and I believe that they're going to do kind of like Paramount and stuff on this one, to where it's going to be coming out at theaters too, and they're going to be carrying it. But it is an adaptation of The Pale Blue Eye by Edgar Allan Poe. It's going to be a movie.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Have you noticed that Christian Bale's actually gotten a lot nicer and more? I've always liked Christian Bale. I've always liked his movies, everything he's done. But him being the type of actor that he is, he gets really into his roles and
He's a method actor.
and doesn't take kindly to. He doesn't suffer fools too well. But now that he's gotten older and everything like that, he seems like he's just so more relaxed and just doing whatever movie he wants. You know, it just seems so cool.
Maybe he's mellowed, or they told him he needed to like straighten up, because I heard there for a while people were not wanting to work with him.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, when you yell at somebody that walks through the set, the way he did. Now, to be fair, he probably deserved it. Walking through the set like that.
But the problem is you don't do that to the sound guy, because he's recording your sound, and he started recording your sound.
Yeah. Like, I was like, yeah, he probably did deserve it. But, you know.
What was that movie that made him so famous? Was the Machinist? The one that he had to
Machinist
lose
did.
so much weight for.
Oh my gosh, yeah. I
That
like
movie creeped
Almost
me
went
out.
into the hospital because he lost a ton of weight for it, and then
Yeah.
within a month he gained within a month or two gained all the weight back and muscle mass for
Mhm.
Batman, and that literally sent his body almost into shock.
I
So
can
it was
believe
just-
it. I can believe it.
I saw a meme a while back that said, "Tell her that you have a body like Christian Bale, but don't tell her which one."
I was gonna say, which one?
And it shows him super, super skinny, muscly,
Uh-huh.
overweight, and pudgy.
Yeah.
I
And
was
you
like,
know, I don't think, and I loved Matthew McConaughey's role in the one we were talking about the other day, Hexus, the one that was so good.
Dallas
all
Buyers
right, all
Club.
right, all right.
Where they were the police detectives.
Oh, True Detective, my favorite show of
True
all time.
Detective. Was
Love
that the one he had to lose a whole lot of weight for?
No,
There was
No,
one
I
he
don't-
had to lose a whole lot
no,
of weight
that's
for.
the
and
one he had.
he's
There was the
never
one I was
seemed to
making.
be able to gain it all back.
The one I was actually making a joke about was Dallas Buyers Club, where
Okay.
he's playing what's his face, who was selling the black market HIV medicine and stuff like that.
That's right.
And,
That's right.
Yeah, he actually did a service to people and helped them out. But
Yeah.
yeah, he lost. He had to be an HIV victim, so he had to lose a ton of weight.
Yeah, he lost 50 pounds by it was fish, tapioca, pudding, and wine. That's all he had.
Huh.
Yeah.
No.
Wow. And he was already kind of thin to begin with.
Fish eyes and glue. Tapioca.
Fish eyes and glue. What?
Basically.
That's what I've always called it since I was a kid. Fish eyes and glue.
Ah.
You could
All
thank
right,
my dad for that one. I
Dads
thought
always
it was
teach us the
awesome.
weirdest things. All right, so I've got one. It's more on a historical level, but I want to talk about the story of Stingy Jack and where Stingy Jack.
Yay!
It is the story based on
He's my
the
favorite.
pumpkin or turnip, or you know, it was traditionally a turnip. We use pumpkins now, hollowed out pumpkins. But the story of Stingy Jack. As the story goes, several centuries ago in Ireland, there lived a drunkard known as Stingy Jack. He was known throughout the land as a deceiver or a manipulator. On a fateful night, Satan overheard the tale of Jack's evil deeds and silver tongue. Unconvinced of the rumors, the devil went to find out for himself whether or not Jack lived up to his vile reputation. Typical of Jack, he was drunk and wandering through the countryside at night when he came upon a body on the cobblestone path. The body, with an eerie grimace on its face, turned out to be the devil himself. Jack realized that this was the end. Satan had finally come to collect his malevolent soul. So Jack made a last request. He asked the devil to let him drink ale before he departed to hell. Finding no reason not to acquiesce the request, Satan took Jack to the local pub and supplied him with many alcoholic beverages. Upon quenching his thirst, Jack asked Satan to pay the tab for the ale, much to his surprise because he didn't carry any money. Jack convinced him to turn himself into a silver coin in which to pay the bartender and change back when he's not looking. Satan did so, impressed upon Jack's unyielding, nefarious tactics. Shrewdly, though, Jack stuck the now transmodified Satan coin into his pocket, which also contained a crucifix. The crucifix presence kept the devil from escaping this form. This coerced Satan to agree to any of Jack's demands. And in exchange for his freedom, he had to spare Jack's soul for 10 years. Now, 10 years after the date Jack originally struck this deal, he naturally found himself once again in the devil's presence. Jack happened upon Satan in the same setting as before, and he seemingly accepted it as his time to go to hell for good. As Satan prepared to take him to hell, Jack asked for asked if he could have one apple to feed his starving belly. Foolishly, Satan once again agreed to this request. As he climbed up the branches of a nearby apple tree, Jack surrounded the bases with crucifixes. Satan, frustrated at the fact that he had been entrapped again, demanded his release. As Jack did before, he made a second demand that he will never take his soul to hell. Having no choice, the devil agreed and was set free. Eventually, the drinking took its toll on Jack, and he did, in fact, die. Stingy Jack's soul prepared to enter heaven through the gates of St. Peter, but he was stopped. Jack was told by God that because of his sinful lifestyle of deceitfulness and drinking, he was not allowed in heaven. Jack then went down to the gates of hell and begged for admission into the underworld. Satan, however, fulfilling his obligation to Jack, could not take his soul. He gave Jack an ember to light his way. Jack is doomed to roam the world between the planes of both good and evil, with only an ember inside a hollow turnip to light his way.
That is one of the coolest stories.
It really is.
Yeah. There we go.
Yep.
Yep.
Stingy Jack.
Stingy Jack.
Oh yeah.
Oh. Do you want to?
Awesome.
We should go to a commercial, huh?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
Buy
Yes,
things
so.
and stuff. And watch
Okay, things and stuff.
Haha.
We shall return.
Stuff and thing.
Well, gentlemen, perhaps we wouldn't be where we are today if we hadn't said to ourselves, just go, 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 go for it.
This final score for this film, we're going to give it 3 paws out of 4.
Nuestra Señora de la Santa Muerte, Spanish for Our Lady of the Holy Death.
Out now!
Oh, not sex and violence.
Hi everybody, I'm Akash,
And I'm Free Sexist Diamond.
and we are Roots Bleed Red on Psycho Bunny Death Cult.
Haha.
In fact, humans have a very long history of eating each other.
So lock your doors, turn out your lights, and join us for Gula Radio.
all you beautiful people out there. It's your boy Sloopy. And when I'm not guzzling down gallons and gallons of amazing ice cream, yes, oh, I love ice cream. Oh, hang on. I'm watching PBDC TV. Now, back to the show, all you beautiful people. And remember, stay nasty.
Texas couldn't breathe.
And we're back.
Texas has a beard now.
That was a great pizza break too.
I'm a little stuffy right now, and this whole bottom part, I was like,
Do demons get stuffy?
apparently they do.
Yeah, of course, man. You get all that buildstone, the brimstone build up in your nasal cavity, and it's a whole problem.
Yep,
Be hell to get out.
Guitar and
So I got one.
Okay.
What? Did you have one?
No.
Well, I mean, so, you know, there's
I was
some...
going to do something.
Oh, what were you going to do?
Nothing.
Do it.
Yep.
Okay.
Can't announce it.
Can't announce what?
That's a bunny
Never
for
can
you.
announce
A
it.
bunny of chaos.
Yep.
Yep.
The bunnies of chaos are coming for you. The bunnies of chaos are coming for you.
Good morning.
I told you.
Couldn't help myself.
All right. So my phone is not recognizing my face because I'm a demon right now. So
My phone never recognizes my face because I don't have a face.
So here we go. She's in love with herself.
Oh my god.
She likes the dark.
Motherfucker.
On her milk white neck, the devil's mark. It's All Hallows Eve. The moon is full. Will she trick or treat? I bet she will.
You forgot to roll your R's.
Huh?
You forgot to roll your R's.
You also forgot to stop interrupting me so I don't mess me up. She's got a date at midnight with Nosferatu. Oh, baby Lily Munster ain't got nothing on you. Well, when I called her evil, she just laughed. I was waiting for you to do it.
What?
Never mind.
Do
She
what?
just laughed
No. What?
and cast that spell on me. Boo something craft because there's a child. Yeah, you want to go out because it's raining and blowing. You can't go out because your roots are showing. Dye 'em black. Black number 1. Little wolfskin boots and clove cigarettes. An erotic funeral. Oh, I shouldn't have said that. For which she dressed. Her perfume smells like burning leaves. Every day is Halloween. I can't finish that other part.
No, you can't. No, you cannot.
Yeah.
Yay!
Why don't you just read This Is Halloween from Nightmare Before Christmas and just jump to it?
Actually. Hold on.
I got to be in a live stage production for that musical like years ago, man. It's a lot of fun. The songs are great too.
I was going to say that would be a lot of fun.
It was. I was super skinny then, and I decided to wear this black costume so they really couldn't see me for the rest of the costume. But I got to do Jack for 3 of the nights that we were open. It was a lot of fun.
Oh, fun.
You know what? I shouldn't do this one until like Christmas, actually, so never mind.
Well, yeah.
I actually have the Nightmare Before Christmas poem.
Yep,
It's a shame we can't actually air the one where it's Christopher Lee reading it.
Oh, that would be neat.
Right. It was
Mm-hmm.
Who's next?
Raz.
Yeah.
Razzle be dazzle us, Raz.
Okay,
Razzle dazzle.
Razzle.
Shake and bake.
It's one of mine actually. So this is one of the ones I sometimes include in my professional storytelling set if there's enough time sort of at the end because it's still relevant. The set itself is about my childhood and the house I grew up in. Technically, I wasn't in that house when this story happened, but close enough. So it's a fun one, and it takes place on Halloween. To set up the story, basically. So this guy had just lost his wife to cancer a week before these events began, and their family, Halloween was like the biggest thing. I mean, year round for them, but like them and their son always did this whole like Universal's monster thing where they would each dress up as one of the Universal monsters. They usually had a cousin or another family member go by or couple if they had enough slots to fill. But this year, he was supposed to go. The little boy was supposed to go as Dracula, and the dad really wanted to do something special for his kid this year. It's the first time they did it within weeks. A week literally before Halloween. So with everything happening, he realized that he hadn't bought his son's costume yet, and he had the mask. It was one of the older, like really cheesy rubber Dracula masks. It's pretty cool, but it's a very common one. But he didn't have the cape. They had a cape in other sizes, but just not one that would fit him because the little boy would just drag it across the ground and ruin it. So he's like, okay, I got to go buy one. He ends up going to the local Walmart to buy it. The other part of this setup to this story is there was a cemetery that's near me, actually close to where I'm staying right now, called Dayton Memorial Park Cemetery. And this area of the cemetery had something called Babyland. It still does. People, when they lose a child, will bury it here, and they'll like include the crib. It lines the path of the grave and everything, statues, toys. I mean, it's heavily decorated, and all the toys and things are year round kind of replaced. So he's in the store, with his son. They're looking at capes, they're looking at everything, and his son finds one perfect size for him. He's really excited about it. He tosses it on, and they brought their Dracula mask in too because he kind of wanted to see how it looked with the cape. As soon as they're out the door, the little boy, puts the cape on. He rushes out before his dad, puts the cape on, puts the mask on, and goes charging towards the car, but he's not paying attention. And a truck driving way too fast in the local Walmart parking lot, unfortunately, hit the boy, and he didn't make it. Well, the father lost his mind, and this was all local news stories around here. He basically lost it, and he disappeared from the scene, the whole scene. He just was gone. But so was the boy's cape and Dracula mask. Fast forwarded to about a week. We're getting even closer to actual Halloween now. So there's this story kind of floating around all the neighborhood kids. We all hear about it. If you go to the graveyard, which we all kind of hung out there randomly anyhow, you can actually go in there at night, or you used to be able to back then. There's no gates, nothing. You just drive right in. We'd hang out there, smoke, hang out, do what best your teenagers do, but never deface anything, never damage property. Any trash we brought, we took out. Often cleaned up more than what we brought in, just because, to respect. And this guy was just randomly showing up around the graves in Babyland with a old rubber Dracula mask on and a cape that was like half the size he needed for a cape. And he was asking people to play hide and seek in the graveyard. And okay, that's super weird. I hadn't been there in a few weeks. Everybody's kind of creeped out totally about this story. And one of my dumbass friends is like, "Hey, we should go over there. Let's see if it's actually happening, or if our friend from school made it up, etc." And I was like, you know what? I've got nothing better to do today, and I do not value my life, so let's give this a shot. So it was three of us all together: me, my brother, and our best friend Nick at the time. And so we decided we're going to go. And lo and behold, another couple of our friends decided to show up. Another three random friends of ours, and another car. So we all six meet up. We're hanging out a little bit. We start smoking, drinking, etc. We're just waiting for this guy to show up. And sure enough, at about 10:47, this guy just stands up from behind one of the gravestones. So who knows how long he'd actually been there. He had to have seen us show up, had to have seen everything that we were doing. I mean, he just stands up like he was always there. And we checked that area everywhere, like even as recent as like 10, 15 minutes ago. And there's nowhere to sneak up to it at. So it's kind of even creepier that he just stands up where he stands up. And he stands up, he walks over real slow, almost like he's trying to pretend he's Dracula, except for that really tiny cape. And he comes close and he says, "Do you want to play hide and seek?" And my friend says, "Well, Nick," he said, "what do we get if we win?" He's like, "If you win," he kind of looks off to the side and thinks about it for a minute. "If you win, I'll go away. and I'll do what needs to be done. We're all weirded out. Like, how does that affect us? Where's our prize? So Nick, being a smartass, actually said, but he's like, well, that sounds like a gift for you. What about for me? He's like, oh, that's not my prize. But if we need to come up with something better. Looks around the graveyard. Looks at each of us. I'll give you $10,000. We're like, okay, but this is late '90s. We're talking here. That's a lot of money in the late '90s. You can do a lot with $10,000 split between 6 people. He's like, but the thing is, anyone I caught isn't included in that, and basically whoever's left will get their cut of it. Okay, cool. This is like House on Haunted Hill, but in a graveyard outside at night. Okay, cool, whatever. We're in. Then we asked the guy, what happens if we lose? He said, well, if you lose, no one will see you again. We obviously don't believe any of this shit. This guy's just being internally spooky. Even his voice is trying to sound like a really cheesy Dracula at this point. And it didn't happen that way. He started off normal, but the more he talked, the more the accent and the weird voice he was doing kind of came out. And, all right, let's go. He's like, I'll count to 10, and then I'll come and find you. And we're just laughing. We scatter off around the cemetery. Only rules that we couldn't leave the cemetery itself. Anywhere in the cemetery was fine, literally anywhere. It's like, all right. Everybody started running away. Well, I got what I thought was brilliant and went around to the cars and got underneath our other friend's car, the one that I didn't ride with. My brother takes off somewhere, our other 4 friends just kind of scatter everywhere, and this guy is 1, 2, and I kept wanting to say like every number in my brain. That's like where my brain is going at this point. This is not serious. I'm high. I've drank a little bit. This is all bullshit. I know it's bullshit, but it's fine. He gets to 10, and he turns around, real creepy, walking almost more like Nosferatu than Dracula. And he's looking around, and I hear him come across one of my friends, and that was Jim. And he's like, oh, shit. And the next thing I hear is, like, just something hitting, like, flagstone, like, really hard. And silence. I don't hear my friend. I don't hear this guy at all. I can't even hear him moving now, so it wasn't that far away where I heard my friend shout out Jim, but I just can't hear the guy moving at all. And all of a sudden, he walks a little farther. He's getting close to me now, so I start to hear him, and he gets right near the truck. And, the car, sorry. Right near the car, and I can hear him. I can now see his feet, and he's just walking around. Then he walks around the other side of the other car. Then he walks away again. Again, as soon as he is away from me far enough, I can't hear his feet on the ground anymore. And the next thing I hear is my friend Scott go, shit, what the fuck is... Pardon my language, sorry. And another, just slam, splat. Dead silence. It's still silent for a while longer. And then I hear my friend Josh voices. That's not happening, man, no. Whatever's going on, no. And then I just hear him, book. He's like, screw it. And I then see and hear Josh as his feet run by, and he just dips. And he's running right towards the exit. It's not fantastic. I don't know where my brother is. I don't know where Nick is. I'm still under this car. He comes back. He circles around both cars again. He walks away. I can't hear his feet anymore. And then, out of nowhere, Nick just runs forward and slides under the car next to me. Nothing. My brother's still out there somewhere. A while later, the guy's footsteps. Close enough to hear. He comes back. He looks around both vehicles, and he walks off in a different direction. And not more than a couple seconds after he walks out, my brother slides down by the cars. He gets down. He says, "We got to go. We got to go now. There's blood. I don't know what's going on. We got to get out of here. We got to call the cops." Okay, let's go. And we start dipping out. We could have taken the car, but that would have been common sense. And common sense was clearly failing us at that time, so we start booking it to the exit. We book it towards the exit, and on our way, I think we're like maybe 100 yards from the exit at this point. I'm not that far away at all. And our buddy that had ran for the exit, Josh, is laying there, just crumpled up. I don't know if he's dead. I don't know if he's just unconscious. He's not moving. We realize that there's no stopping at this point in time, because now we can hear really loud footsteps. We look over and realize that he's seen us and he's now chasing right at us, just rushing at us. And he's got some kind of hammer or like big, like a sledge, but not like a mini sledge, more or less, in his hand. And there's blood all over it. There's blood all over the front of this guy's costume, all over the Dracula mask. And we're done. We just start running. And as soon as we make it out of the graveyard, we went another 100 yards and we stopped. And just kind of slowly started backing towards, because now there's kind of traffic. I mean, it's late night traffic, but there's kind of some in that area because it's the main area of Dayton. And we're like, okay, all these cars are, there's enough cars going by that this is pretty public. And so we're kind of looking around. Nick goes over and starts flagging down cars. My brother starts helping him, trying to flag down a car for help, because the closest phone that we know of is about 2.5 miles away from where we are, and that's not time effective at this point. And cell phones existed, so hopefully someone had one. And the guy stops. I mean, full run, he just dead stops right at the boundary of the cemetery. He stops. And he stared at us. He says, "You broke the rules." It's like, well, dude, I mean, I didn't know what to say to this guy. I'm just standing there in shock. My friends are freaking out, like kind of screaming about it now, like even more trying to frantically wave down the car. And he says, "You don't get the money." And then his voice gets normal again. He's like, "But I get the bodies." And then he just walks off. That's it. He just walks off. Finally, a car stops. Thank God they had a cell phone. We called the cops. Cops get out there, and we give them our statement. Apparently, this had obviously, like we had heard, it had been happening for a while. But what we didn't know is that we're at this point already like 8 missing children cases involving the cemetery from kids in all over the different neighborhoods, like everywhere, and had no idea about that part. And apparently there were going to be several more because they searched everywhere. They found the guy, but at first they couldn't find the bodies, so they interrogated him. He had apparently been using the key to his family tomb, because his family, well, not really a tomb, I guess these days. What do you call that?
Mausoleum.
Thank you. Yeah, the family mausoleum where his son was recently interred, and his wife was, and several other generations of his family, because it was a bigger mausoleum, and had been hiding all the bodies in there. And they found the key and his belongings. They went, and every single body, including the 3 of my friends, were missing. The only solace we got was 2 of our friends survived it. It was Scott that didn't, but Josh was just unconscious when we ran across him. And Jimmy, both his arms were broken, smashed in different joints by the hammer, and he had basically had such a severe concussion that there was a brain bleed, but they were able to fix everything. And we never went back to that. So I still have not been back to that cemetery, and I have relatives that have been buried there since then. I just don't go near it. I just drive by it. I don't like to drive on streets that take me near it. But to this day, it's one of the biggest stories in this area. And it's something people still talk about on Halloween night.
Wow.
That's cool.
That's cool.
Hey, Mikey.
And to explain my storytelling in my set, that's not real. That's not a real story. It's literally, I entirely made the whole thing up long, long ago. And some of the stories I tell have elements of truth.
Crap out of me as a kid.
Yeah. And it was based on a weird legend about the same event happening where the kid gets killed coming out of a Walmart and the guy is in the cemetery saying, playing hide and seek. It was just something someone in that town over had made up and spread to my friends in our neighborhood. And it was just an urban legend that wasn't true. It never happened. No kid in the neighborhood died at Walmart. And I just remembered that from childhood and just wanted to see how messed up I can make it. So that was my
That was good.
Hi, Sharon.
Hi, Sharon.
I love the mask, the raptor mask in the picture.
Yeah.
It's fantastic. Thank you. But this is Bunny.
Don't press the bunny.
Oh, so
The only other story I have, it's a story about a Nephilim named Andre the Giant who lives in California and eats tacos. And
loves tacos.
Tacos. Hey, Alan. So who's next?
That would be you, Bunny O'Chaos.
Oh.
Unless you want me to go ahead and go.
You go ahead and go, because I'm trying to figure out which one to do next.
Okay. All right. Well, mine is going to be based on a possible true story. It's definitely based on urban legend. And this is the story of the werewolf of Mobach. Or Mobach, I guess would be the best way to, yeah, Mobach. Morbach. The werewolf of Morbach.
Morbach.
According to legend, the Rhineland town of Wittlich is said to be the last place in Germany where a werewolf has been killed. Thomas Johann Baptist Schweitzer, a supposed deserter from Napoleon's army and a veteran of the disaster at Moscow, fled to his homeland in France. With him were a group of Russians, also deserters. Now, while passing by the village of Wittlich, the hungry soldiers earmarked a farmhouse and decided to take what they wanted. In the midst of their scavenging, they were discovered by the farmer, whom they promptly murdered along with his sons. The farmer's wife, witnessing the whole foul deed, let out a wail and cursed Schweitzer. From now on, at each full moon, you will change into a rabid wolf, she screams in her anguish. Schweitzer relieved her of her suffering by crushing her skull. As time went on, the curse started to take hold. Gradually, changes came over Schweitzer. His personality began to become harder, and he lacked inhibitions. He robbed, raped, and murdered at his pleasure. He soon departed from his fellows, who had had enough, and took up with bandits and highwaymen. The ruffians were also appalled at Schweitzer's excesses, so the ex-soldier fled to the sanctuary of the deep forests. The tales of a wolf that walked like a man spread throughout the countryside. At night, men and cattle were brutally slaughtered by the beast. Now, one night, Schweitzer observed the beautiful daughter of a local farmer. Her name was Elizabeth. And in his carnal lust, he raped her. Days later, while by his campfire in the woods, Schweitzer was discovered by a group of villagers who took him for the werewolf. They gave chase and cornered the fugitive near the village of Mobach. Promptly dispatching Schweitzer, the villagers buried him at a crossroads. There, a shrine was erected where a candle would burn continuously. The story goes, as long as the candle is lit, so that, like I said, the legend goes, the werewolf will not return. Now, 9 months later, a son was born to Elizabeth, who she named Martin. Now, to this day, the descendants of this child are a respected family in the vicinity of Mobach, and showed no signs of the curse of their infamous ancestor, Thomas Johann Baptist Schweitzer. That is, until 1988. One evening, a group of Air Force personnel were returning to their base at Mobach. Passing the old shrine, they noticed the candle was out. They, of course, began to laugh and joke about this, for all had heard the legend of the werewolf. Later, however, at the base, automatic sirens pealed into the night. Sensing someone or something had activated the perimeter fence, a security guard went to investigate and detected a large creature similar to a wolf standing on its hind legs. It gazed at the soldier for a moment and then fled, clearing a 3-meter fence with ease. A police dog was brought to track the beast, but upon arriving at the spot where the werewolf was seen, the canine only cowered and howled, refusing to go any further. The candle at the shrine was relit, and the creature has been seen no more. And this was actually, I guess, put out on the internet by D.L. Ashleman on November 16th of 1998.
That was cool.
Woo! Sorry. I was looking up stuff.
Yeah. That was actually super cool. So, did the candle ever... Did someone ever relight the candle?
Yeah, they relit it at the end, and the wolf was never seen again.
Oh, I'm just making a joke.
It's 25th
I got
anniversary.
another
Of
one.
course, someone's lit the candle. Gonna make a sequel.
Yep. Or does Bunny want to go?
Okay, so I have Halloween in a Suburb. H.P. Lovecraft.
Ooh.
I went looking. I knew that there was another one that I wanted to find, but I couldn't find it.
Well, one of the things about H.P. Lovecraft, what a lot of people don't understand, is actually the vast majority of his stories, all of them came out. What was the magazine? Fantastic.
This was actually when he had his hand in poetry to begin with, because he was inspired by Poe. So this was...
What was the magazine, though, that it came out in?
Oh,
it was something Fantastic Science or something like that? Or is it
No, it's like Tales.
Tales. Fantastic Tales or something like that. That a lot of the old, back in the 20s, you know.
Well, this was from 1926.
Yes.
Okay, give me a second, because he actually rhymes, so give me a second. I don't know why rhyming things are harder.
Tongue ready.
Okay. So Halloween in a Suburb. The steeples are white in the wild moonlight, and the trees have a silver glare. Past the chimneys high, see the vampires fly, and the harpies of upper air that flutter and laugh and stare. For the village dead to the moon outspread, never shone in the sunset's gleam, but grew out of the deep that the dead years keep, where the rivers of madness stream down the gulfs to a pit of dream. A chill wind weaves through the rows of sheaves in the meadows that shimmer pale, and comes to twine where the headstones shine and the ghouls of the churchyard wail for harvests that fly and flail. In a breath of the strange gray gods of change that tore from the past its own, can quicken this hour when a special power spreads sleep o'er the cosmic throne and loses the vast unknown. So here again stretch the veil and plain that moons long forgotten saw, and the dead leave gay in the pallid ray, sprung out of the tomb's black maw, to shake all the world with awe. And all that the morn shall greet forlorn, the ugliness and the pest of rose where thick rise the stones and brick, shall someday be with the rest, and the brood with the shades unblessed. Then wild in the dark let the lemurs bark, and the leprous spires ascend, for new and old alike in the fold of horror and death are pinned, for the hounds of time and rend. Yes, he rhymed a lot in that one. That's a tongue twister.
Guys, did you know that if you
I love H.P. Lovecraft.
If you read H.P. Lovecraft's Necronomicon, you have to read it in one night. And if you fall asleep before you read it,
Necronom-nom-nom.
The Necronom-nom-nom comes for you. Sorry, just how Mikey's the thing.
What is it in oh gosh, is it Borderlands? The Necronomicon?
Yes.
Oh, the Nibblenomicon.
Right, there you go. The Nibblenomicon.
It's a cookbook.
There is a real cookbook, the Necronom.
Nom-nom-nom.
The Necronom-nom-nom, yeah.
I want to cook out of it because I found some recipes. A lot of them involve lamb. I'm okay with that.
Fine, I'll deal with it. So I can try
Well, let me tell you,
love
talking
lamb.
about H.P. Lovecraft. So Oddfather did this to me. We were talking about, and guys, if you guys have not seen it yet on Netflix, go watch Guillermo del Toro's Cabinet of Curiosities. It's like a bunch of short stories, and one of them is based on H.P. Lovecraft. And we got to talking about it and the Eldritch Terrors. Yeah. And so he's like, I found the full name of Cthulhu. And I was like, you're not supposed to say the full name of Cthulhu. And he's like, that's okay. I texted it to you. So I said, I'm not reading the full name of Cthulhu. And so I wouldn't open up the text. And so now every single day, my phone throws up that text with Cthulhu's full name right there, and I have to look at it every single day because I won't open up the text.
You know, the thing is, though, just become a follower of Hester, the King in Yellow, which is his brother and his mortal enemy, and you'll be protected, so you can actually read it then.
Alan says, I woke Shell up one night talking in my sleep. I told her I needed more shotgun shells because I was concerned about werewolves.
I mean, yeah, it's a big concern these days.
But you know, they can be a problem. In some places, they can be a problem if breeding is
like
not
London?
controlled. Yes,
They're an invasive
in London,
pest.
and some in Paris.
Yes,
they're an invasive species sometimes, like cats.
They can be. Yes, yes.
And you
if
can
they're
tame
taken
them
out of their environment and released into environment that they're not used to, yes, they can overbreed.
Yeah, London and Paris. There's a big problem with American werewolves there.
Yes,
there is.
That's what I
a
hear.
lot of,
That's what I hear.
a lot of American werewolves. You know,
Oh, woo, werewolf. See, they even made songs out of it.
they did. They very much did.
Cthulhu's real name is Choo Choo Loo. He likes trains.
And turtles.
I like turtles.
Oh, yes, the turtles.
Oh man! All right, I got one.
Oh boy, I'm afraid.
It's called Autumnal Reaper. The coldest winds embrace the lands, awakened from its ancient slumber by a circle of sleepless eyes. Autumn Reaper, dress me in ice, let my blood freeze in your eyes. Towards a dark sky, monolith points, created by unknown hands in darker age. The threes bow for this wind, the cursed that will live on forever. The winds of autumn, cold and loud, dress me in ice, it dies. The life standing as frozen shadows under flickering stars. Autumn Reaper, dress me in ice, let my blood freeze in your eyes.
Yay!
That was by a band by the name of Marduk.
Indeed.
Speaking of H.P. Lovecraft.
Nice. Nice.
You know what's really funny right now? My screen reads memory and then the cats. And now my brain is going, memories.
Look.
All alone in the moonlight.
If we go on a lot longer with all the stories you have popped up right now, I'm going to become the Lone Ranger because this mask is starting to dig in.
Yeah, I actually have
I've only got
I'm
one
kidding.
last story left.
I'm just making a
Personally.
joke.
I found stories.
I have a super short one.
I was just kidding, guys.
Should
I was
we
just...
finish the commercials?
Sure.
All right, we will be
Are we
right
gonna play
back.
a long one? Because I need to get some coffee.
It'll be about almost 3 minutes. A little over 3
Okay.
minutes.
And go.
Bye.
This is Professor Edgar Fluffosaurus from Spooky Tales with Steve the Cat, and when I'm not hosting Monster Chat or knocking down small Japanese cities, I'm watching PBDC TV. Now back to the show.
Whee!
And we're back again.
Woo! Wait, Angie's gone.
Yeah. Our daughter had to turn in for the night.
Aw.
Yeah.
Dang it.
It was awesome to see her.
I know. I miss having her in the feeds. I really do.
It was the first time I got to meet her, actually.
Yeah, it is. It absolutely. And I didn't. Oh, I'm sorry. I was being completely rude. I did not introduce you guys.
Oh, you're fine. We can see each other's names, you know what I'm saying? Like, they're there on the screen over here. We're good.
Sorry. All right, so who's next?
My brain right now is going, little bunny foo foo.
I think it's me.
Yep, it's Raz.
Yeah, I got a short one.
I got fuzzballs.
This is Halloween based. I wrote it, probably like 4 years ago, and it was for a microfiction challenge under 300 words. So it's pretty short.
Dang.
It's called Jim's Cabin. On a clear autumn night, the full harvest moon shone brightly upon a dense wood. Jim Gilbert sat in a cushioned throne-like rocking chair upon a rickety wooden porch that was held aloft by beams that were so old only the trees remembered their names. This particular porch was attached to an old log cabin that had been there longer than any other structure in the surrounding county. Jim had lived in this same spot in these same woods for as long as he could remember. In fact, many generations of his family had both lived and died here. Having found no one to share his life, he had become the last remaining member of his family line. It had fallen to him and him alone to tend to the cabin and the vast tracts of land it was placed upon. It was a much simpler life than most folks were used to, but that didn't make it any less difficult. While most people had grocery stores and fast food restaurants, he had to grow and hunt all his own food. While most people had general stores and gas stations, Jim had to use the byproducts of the things he farmed and hunted to create most other items he needed. Jim made a variety of different things from those byproducts. The cabin was generally well lit by candles and the oil within his aging oil lamps that had been made from all the fat of these animals, while all his clothes were made from their skin. There wasn't anything he needed that couldn't be created with some raw materials and a fair bit of ingenuity. His favorite creation was the very rocking chair he was relaxing on, fashioned from the flesh and bones of a 350-pound Caucasian man.
Sorry, I started laughing because I saw this. I have a scary story. Texas screaming popcorn selling clowns. That is truly scary. Indeed.
Hell yeah.
Great story.
Thank you.
And Mikey also says, La Llorona is loose. I heard her crying again. I said, Ya cállate, borracha. Nadine says, I got a 29-day ban from going live for inciting violence. Either mosh pits or fake axes got me reported.
What?
Oh.
Yeah.
Aww.
That's stupid.
Crazy.
Wow. That is like insane.
I don't even know what to say to that.
I don't either. This is like getting ridiculous though, with like Facebook and people just reporting stuff and all that stuff. That's how. Yeah. Oh well.
I'm sorry, Nadine.
If you want to go live, we'll help you.
Yeah.
You can.
Tell me who they are. I'll eat their soul.
We'll swallow their souls.
Show me on the internet where they hurt you.
Show me on this diagram of the internet where they touched you.
Where that person touched your live
right
stream.
in the USB cord.
Right in the USB port. Okay. Ready?
The cats.
Because I had to. The cats.
No, say it properly.
Came back the very next
The
day.
cats.
The cats. The cats. Meow. No.
Not okay. Say it like that. The cats.
I put it back. No. No.
It
Sorry.
sounded like rolled when he was when he was possessed. No. No.
Okay.
Okay. Here, Nate. All right. All right. The Cats by H.P. Lovecraft. Babbles of blocks to the high heavens towering. Flames of futility. Futility. Swirling below. Poisonous fungi and brick and stone flowering. Okay, him and his unnecessary apostrophes. They get me every time. Lanterns that shudder and death lights that glow. Black monstrous bridges across oily rivers. Cobwebs of cable by nameless things spun. Catacomb deeps whose dank chaos delivers. Streams of live fodder and that rots in the sun. Color and splendor, disease and decaying, shrieking and ringing and scrambling insane. Rabbles exotic to stranger gods praying, jumbles of odor that stifle the brain. Legion of cats from the alleys nocturnal, howling and lean in the glare of the moon, screaming the future with mouthings infernal, yelling the burden of Pluto's red rune. Tall towers and pyramids, ivied and crumbling, bats that swoop low in the weed-cumbered streets. Bleak, broken bridges over rivers whose rumbling joins with no voice as the thick tide retreats. Belfries that blackly against the moon totter, caverns whose mouths are by mosses effect. And living to answer the weird in the water, only the lean cats that howl in the waste. That one's a weird one, guys.
That's a good one, though. I like that.
I like it,
Yay.
but unnecessary apostrophes. Always.
Oh, wait till I start reading M.R. James. He switches to like Cockney or something, and I'm having to like leave off like consonants and over exaggerate vowels.
Right.
Over exaggerated vowels. You like dags?
You like dags?
Like dags?
Dogs.
Yeah, I like dogs. I like
The
Kevin's
cat,
more.
those cats actually make an appearance in a lot of his stories, a number of them, and you find out they could actually travel through space and time and all kinds of. It's pretty intense, man. He loves cats.
The crazy thing about like H.P. Lovecraft is the one thing you don't realize is that actually did have a fairy tale side of things too. We're not exactly a fairy tale side of things, but where it was the dreamlands where the good gods and everything lived, but the good gods were nowhere near as powerful as the elder gods. So
there was a whole comic series specifically about that world from Boom Comics. I think it was called The Fall of Cthulhu or something like that. It was really good.
Insane.
Cool.
I have another one.
I'm burning up.
I have one more for myself. So now we're gonna stick with the H.P. Lovecraft. You guys will get it when I start reading it, but there is one particular person or group of people that actually write great H.P. Lovecraft songs, and I don't care what anybody says, but I'm gonna go ahead and read it. So, messenger of fear in sight, dark deception kills the light. Hybrid children watch the sea, pray for father roaming free. Fearless wretch insanity, he watches lurking beneath the seas. Great old ones forbidding sight. He searches, hunter of the shadow is rising. Immortal, in madness you dwell. Crawling chaos underground, cult has summoned twisted sound. Out from ruins once possessed, fallen city, living death. Fearless wretch, insanity, he watches lurking beneath the sea. Timeless sleep has been upset, he awakens. Hunter of the shadow is rising. Immortal, in madness you dwell. Not dead which eternal lie, stranger eons death may die. Drain you of your sanity, face the thing that should not be. Fearless wretch, insanity, he watches lurking beneath the sea. Great old ones, forbidden sight. He searches, hunter, the shadow is rising, immortal, in madness you dwell.
You should have done it how he does it in S&M.
I was trying my hardest not to sing it like James Hetfield. Because I know the whole song.
The actual ending of that song is blah 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 blah.
One of the bands, what people don't realize with Metallica is they've been fans of H.P. Lovecraft for a long, long time.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, Dave Mustaine did write Call of Cthulhu, which is on Ride the Lightning. But James Hetfield, Lars Ulrich, they're all fans of it, and they even on the latest album they wrote another Call of Cthulhu song, H.P. Lovecraft song, it's super good. It's really
cool.
Oh yeah,
cool. You know, his stories just seem to outlast, just like Tolkien, outlast time. Really,
they do. Well, it's what he did, and I didn't realize it that H.P. Lovecraft left his stuff open ended on purpose and intended for other authors to take up and keep going and going and going with it, which is a lot of authors don't do that. They were like, no, we don't want you touching our stuff. But he was like, no, have fun with it, man. Make up new gods. Put your fears into this. Find out new madnesses and everything like that to put into people's minds. He was a brilliant writer. Like
it was meant to be like a type of literary performance art. That's how he saw his pieces. But like you said, he would do his part and publish it so the world could find it, and then just breadcrumbs.
Yep.
Right.
Well, the King in Yellow is a prime example of him. He's not H.P. Lovecraft's creation. He took that from another author who said, "Yeah, go ahead, man, write about him." I can't remember the author's name, but the King in Yellow originally started off as a good deity, a shepherd, and then all of a sudden he turned into this twisted being of tentacles and everything like Cthulhu, he is the half brother of Cthulhu.
I'm burning up.
Sorry.
Well, I've got one last one. If there's anybody else that's got anything else, I'll close it out with mine whenever you guys are ready.
Nope, this one's too long.
I got a tiny like 2-sentence thing. Let me grab it real quick. I just wanted to read it because this time of year it feels important. And technically, I got like 31 minutes until Halloween here, but it's Halloween for other people somewhere, so it counts. It's time for the big giveaway. Halloween has come. All you lucky kids with silver shamrock masks, gather around your TV set, put on your masks and watch. All witches, all skeletons, all jack-o'-lanterns, gather around and watch. Watch the magic pumpkin. Watch.
Yeah.
My brain's all scary skeletons. And then we have Mikey over here. Woe to you, O earth and sea, for the devil sends the beast of wrath, because he knows his time is short. Let him who hath understanding reckon the number of the beast, for it is a human number. Its number is 666.
God, that's such a just awesome, especially Iced Earth, like covering it.
Oh yeah, Iced Earth
so good.
Cover's awesome. Silver Shamrock.
Silver Shamrock.
Yeah. Silver Shamrock.
No more days till Halloween.
Is that the Crimson Meerkat right there? Actually, not.
Crimson Meerkat.
Trees blowing in space with winds of solar wretched.
Still better than his poetry.
Filling, comma, filling.
Period.
Bam.
Bam-a-lamba ding dong.
Bamba lamba ding dong.
See, that's what my mom calls M. Night Shyamalan. Shamalama ding dong. Then she starts singing that song.
Ding dong.
M.
Night Shyamalan ding dong.
Try your hardest. All of us who are grammar, we're like all into grammar and everything.
Get him out.
Try your hardest to write a terrible poem with the improper grammar. It's impossible.
Bam-a-lamba ding dong.
All right. Sorry. I think we hijacked the horror gallery tonight. I'm sorry.
No, this has been a blast.
So, you know what though? Can I do something before you end out the show with that?
Yeah.
So Raz did a lot more than I did this year as far as haunting goes. But I had fun haunting last night, guys.
Yeah, tell everybody about it.
So there was I was looking for local haunts, and boy did I find them. So I ended up contacting a few, and one of them got back to me, and I had sent them pictures of the Wendigo.
The thing is, we found there's a whole community here in our county, in our city of underground haunts. Like they come together, and there's like, we thought there was only 4 houses. There's actually like 20 different houses.
We just haven't found
I
them
thought
yet.
that was weird that you told me there were so few, and I knew that there were like more there.
Well, this is the thing. They don't publicize themselves, and they can only really, it sounds like they only really got a hold of these 4 as far as like coming together and networking. They did reach out to one that's closer to us, actually, but they haven't been able to make contact back yet, so we don't really know where they are personally.
Right.
But, so the one that I worked for last night was called Benning Manor. It's over, here you go. Here's all the addresses. If anybody's in this area, go on over. They're all free, but please donate if you get the opportunity to do so.
Please do, because they put a lot of effort into this.
Oh my
They have 9 rooms, and
more than 9. They had like 12.
I mean, even if it's $1 a person would help out significantly.
They counted. I was Modern Warfare 2 came out yesterday or the day before yesterday, and I was playing that while Kyle was haunting. And but when on the way back, she called me up and was like, "Dude, they had already served 900 people, and there is still a line around the corner." So $1 right there, that's a lot of money right there. Just even if it's $1 a person going to these home haunts that. Yeah, they're only doing it for like 1 or 2 days a year, which is, obviously the weekends or on Halloween. But this is like grassroots.
Oh yeah,
the epitome of grassroots. I mean, like, you have the bigger haunts that we always talk about, like Woods of Terror or whatnot, and because it pops in my head right now if I said it. But then you have these smaller haunts like this, which it's literally family ran.
Yeah,
and it's super cool.
I was trying
well,
to
one of our favorite haunted houses was a haunted trail / haunted house. When my oldest was growing up, started off as a family haunt. And then it just kept growing and growing and growing to the point to where they actually bought the land adjacent to where they owned the property, just to make it bigger. And it was there for, oh my goodness, at least a good 15 years. And I don't know what happened to it. I think they may have moved, or maybe the people got old,
Yeah. These
Because
guys
I
have
have
been going for 9 years, I think. Yeah, 9 years.
I wanted to show you guys something. So, okay, so when you hear us laughing, saying closet. So last night, I don't know how my character morphed into this, but I was standing there in my Wendigo outfit, and I ended up actually I was placed over by Hell, and then realized if I hid behind this curtain, I got a better effect, right? And they had this ramp that it was meant because people had said, hey, we'd really like it if you put a ramp here. So they put a ramp and people still kept falling, by the way. So I started standing there because I was like, well, you guys got to go this way. But I had to figure out a way to not break character and tell them which direction to go. So, of course, I started screaming at them to get into my closet. My closet, by the way.
Of what? What was your closet
bodies. Full of? Lots of bodies. And I don't know how this all morphed into this, but it turned into my closet, which I had a werewolf hidden in, by the way. And the werewolf would jump out halfway through and you'd hear screaming. And as they were walking down, I would just start maniacally laughing at them. Which I don't know why it scared them, because I thought it was just funny. Really. But we also discovered that that ramp itself made a good slam. So my favorite part of last night was actually working with some like 8 and 9-year-olds that were out there haunting.
Fun. It can be a lot of fun.
So there was one kind of dressed up as a Jawa, which I loved, and
that's epic.
He had the glowing eyes, and he had a button for the glowing eyes, right? So it was perfect to have him situated right there at the end of hell, and then suddenly
Mhm.
jump out and the eyes glow. And I was like,
Nice.
hey, so when I go over here, you start slamming your foot right here. And then he'd start slamming, and you'd hear these people scream because they just got hit by the drop panel, right? So they're all on edge. And so as soon as he does that, which sounds like a drop panel, they're screaming, and they're not even at us yet. So
That's
I'll just
good,
sit
though.
there with my antlers, kind of just glowing there, you know. And then this little tiny guy just goes, "Rah!" Goes running out at them. And by the end of the night, I had him crawling on the bridge to hell.
Epic.
He was crawling on the bridge to hell, like running at people crawling.
Mhm.
It was that was
That's cool.
epic. That was probably the best time I had.
I am holding all my stories until after our season because I have a lot, and I think it'll take me a while to get through them. But
Yeah,
technically, we Hell's Dungeon, conveniently located in Dayton, Ohio. We're actually open for one more weekend this coming weekend, but it's a different
You
show.
know,
Instead of our usual thing, what we're doing is like kind of a lights out sort of scenario, but we're also flipping around everyone everywhere in the haunt. So you could see me instead of in the freak show, the circus, like walking up and down Main Street, or hanging out with cannibals, or in the asylum, or it's everybody switched in all different directions and a whole new show. So it's our fun we have for the very last weekend. It's also our responders military teacher weekend where you get in for free and a
Oh,
discount
nice.
for your significant others and your family members. So
That
Oh,
it's
is
very
our
cool.
charity, and we're donating some of those proceeds, I believe, to charity as well. So it's an exciting final haunt weekend. When it's all over, I will regale you guys with some crazy shit that happened this year.
Please do.
Yeah, and videos we could show everybody. That would be cool.
Oh yeah,
Because
yeah.
I've seen some videos of your haunt, and it's amazing. Like, you don't even have a chance to catch your breath. And I think
We're
that's what's so scary about it, is you keep everybody off kilter.
Yeah, we're somewhere between 50 and 60 rooms already this year, and we're already
Yeah.
planning it probably another 10, if not more, for next. So it's
Yeah.
That's
we just
awesome.
keep getting bigger.
Did you just smack yourself?
I was trying to adjust my mask, and then all of a sudden it slipped and hit myself in the face. It has really
Stop
For
hitting
the
yourself,
hard-
Hex. Stop
Well-
hitting yourself.
for the hard plastic, not to get into details here because I'm a demon, but
hard
it actually
plastic.
has really tough plastic, and it's really well made, and it fits my face really, really well, with the exception right here because I have chubby cheeks. And when I wear the actual bottom part, it protects that and actually makes it so it doesn't
Mhm.
grind on my face. Well, I'm a little stuffy right now, so I can't wear that. I'm having problems breathing, so I have to breathe through my mouth. Well, right now
Mouth breather.
I was just trying to adjust it because it was a little pushing on my eyes, like the top part right there, and slipped out of my finger and slammed back into my face.
For those of you who aren't aware how demons work, basically what he's saying is his sinuses are full of brimstone. He has yet to graduate to the lower circle of hell, and that is the point at which they actually melt the mask to his face.
I
So
haven't been
it's a
back.
multi-part, multi-step scenario here with his
I haven't been
job.
back in 4,000 years. I'm staying
Yeah.
right here. I'm 4,100 years old, so
Hex
and
is
I'm
flunked out of
staying
hell
here.
school.
You know, I've had a lot of mishaps through time. Made little jokes here and there, little pranks that might have caused some stuff that happened back in the 20s and 30s, 40s.
Was that the whole Mae West thing?
Well, there was also quite possibly the whole. See, okay, back in the day, in
Didn't
the
she
60s,
put out a film? Or, I mean,
well,
a thing called Sex, and she got in trouble, and that was all your fault.
maybe. But one of the biggest
neither
mishaps I
confirm
ever
or
had
deny.
was I was swimming through the Gulf, and I went by this little island, and well, I had a pig with me, and it was in
A
this
pig.
bay, and well,
The Bay of Pigs.
yeah, there was some stuff that happened. I don't know. Another one Navy came up and was like, I was like, whoa. Whoa,
The Bay of
I'm
Pigs
just
coming
trying
this
to
summer.
Make it to land. I can't fly. I'm not an angel anymore. And yeah, there was a huge standoff. I don't know what was going on, but I got the hell out of there.
You know, it makes you wonder, are demons just really living their best life, and like
Yes.
they just constantly keep falling into trouble? Like, they don't really mean to do it. They're just living their best life, and then
Things.
stuff like that happens.
Everybody
Boom,
knows
the Bay
all the
of
good
Pigs.
bands are affiliated with Satan.
All the best.
All the best bands.
There's actually a big documentary on how Foo Fighters sold their souls to the devil.
Really?
I don't see how, because Dave Grohl is probably one of the best drummers I have ever heard. And he didn't sell his soul to me. He just kind of put it on loan, and I was like, "Yeah, man,
oh yeah,
do what you got to do." And then I was like, "You don't got to pay me back."
Yeah, the documentary just came out earlier this year. It's called Studio 666.
Oh,
and by the way, anytime I say documentary, I'm probably talking about a show or movie. In this case, it's a movie.
Yeah,
more of a mockumentary, I think.
yeah.
My mother just realized something.
Huh.
In this lighting, like, because we're like celebrating All Hallows Eve with all the lights off and our pumpkins and turnips lit. If I do this, I look like Iron Maiden Eddie.
Oh yeah,
Alan, to answer what I'm saying, so in 1926, I believe, no, 1927, Mae West put out a play called Sex, right? And it was basically a theater group that was talking about, they were talking about like proud feminist subtext in the play. Well, she was arrested.
Was this the
I remember this.
No, she was arrested and she was charged by a grand jury with obscene, indecent, immoral, and impure drama
for showing her
with
ankles.
intent to corrupt the morals of the youth. Yeah, and she was actually put in prison.
You know what?
In New York for her play called Sex.
Yeah. And all I did was like, "Hey, babe, I don't know if we could do this." And then she was like, "Look, I'm going to write this play, but I don't have a good name for it." I was like, "Why don't you call it Sex?" See, and I was meaning the old Roman word for six.
So,
and there you go again. Demon living his best life, and bam, trouble.
Right?
Yeah, man.
Well, the crazy part about this,
I can't win for losing.
She said that she had climbed the ladder of success wrong by wrong.
It wasn't even a ladder. I gave her a stepping stool. What the fuck?
Yeah, man.
But like, probably about 10 or so years after the scandal, she was offered a contract by Paramount.
Yeah, and I got no credit for that in any way, shape, or form.
And
you never do. Then.
She went on to become one of the best known and best paid stars of the era.
Thanks to me.
And legend has it that by 1935, she was the second highest paid person in the U.S. behind William Randolph Hearst.
Wow. I actually honestly do. In all honesty, I think William Randolph Hearst helped her out a lot. I do believe that. Because William Randolph Hearst
wasn't she the one that always said, "Come up and see me sometime," or something like that?
I think so, yeah.
Yep.
And she's gorgeous, too. Like, absolutely gorgeous.
She was, absolutely beautiful.
But William Randolph Hearst, being the badass that he was, he helped out a lot of stars, all this other stuff like throughout the time. And if you got really, they tell you on the tour when you go to his Hearst Castle, which is gorgeous and huge, that you were free to stay there as long as you wanted to, but you knew you overspent your welcome when you got placed down the table. And he had this long table, like
the table's so cool,
huge. It took up the room itself had to be about 500 feet, like just long. The table's just as long.
They even had an area for the band to play.
Now,
up above,
he sat in the middle, and the closer you were to him,
didn't mean to do that.
The more you got, the longer you got to stay there. Now, he would never tell you to leave, never tell you had to leave, but you learn your place while you were having dinner, and you started being moved down away from him. Now, by the time you got to the end of the table, it was actually time for you to leave. Right. And that's when most people was like, "Okay, I overstayed my welcome." And this happened to his good friends too.
Oh,
best
wow.
friends. Like, where they were like, "All right," it's because they would actually spend weeks and weeks, maybe a month or two there.
And did you see those pools?
Oh, It's just gorgeous.
I want to go work there just as a tour guide or something, just because every year they allow families to come in that work there and go swimming in this pool, and it looks like you're in Rome.
There are
like
parts,
it's just
why does
beautiful.
Great Gatsby come to mind?
Because it was the same era.
Yeah.
It was the exact same era, with the exception of William Randolph Hearst was actually legit. Where it wasn't a. I know Gatsby was a story, wasn't it? It wasn't based on real. Yeah, it was kind of based on the lifestyle and everything that they were all inhabiting. But William Randolph Hearst actually lived a long life. He came. His parents were multi-millionaires. Gave him nothing, and he built himself up when he went off on his own, and built himself up from nothing, and became this just giant in the in the newspaper industry at the time. Journalism and everything like that, and then went on to support like all the stars of Hollywood, everything like that, and filmmakers, became a producer, everything like that. There's a part in the tour where I started tearing up and crying because it was just so inspirational.
Beautiful. They have
a
statue. they have a statue there that is from before Jesus was born.
Yes. This is the stuff he could get.
Smokes.
Yeah.
Does it just look like it's got to just look like a blob? I mean,
it's a gargoyle. Like
no. It was a beautiful Egyptian goddess. It was Isis. I think.
Isis, yeah. Right when you walk in is the first thing you see. It's right there, and it looks and feels old. Like when you see like old pieces of art
just due to age.
Yeah.
Oh, it is just gorgeous.
When you see old pieces of art and you get that feeling, like you're like I like you're almost like buzzing.
Mm-hmm.
That's what you get when you walk up to this place. It's
so
cool.
When you first enter, before you really go up to the castle itself, there's this gorgeous pool, and I was telling you guys, like the people who work there, they get to go party there. You can actually rent out these pools. Here you go.
Yeah.
Wow.
This is the one where all the starlets.
Like Rome.
Yeah.
This is the one where all the stars and starlets, where he would insist on them swimming and stuff like that, because it's right. It's just a Greek bathhouse, basically.
It is gorgeous. So then there's this indoor pool, and you guys are going to think this is a painting. This is not a painting. This is an actual picture.
That's real.
It has some like stuff over it, you know.
That is real when you walk in. That's the last thing on the first tour you take. That is the last place you get to go to, and it's
real gold.
Everything it looks like that. It glows.
It feels like a painting.
It vibrates. It's so cool to be in there.
That reminds me of the Fox Theater. If anybody's ever been to the Fox Theater in Atlanta, it's got a lot of those like Persian blues and the golds and the just very, very eccentric, like Victorian over the top type stuff mixed in with like, I don't know, Moroccan maybe.
Oh yeah.
By the way, William Randolph Hearst was a man's man. He would go out with his cattle ranchers, because he also owned cattle and stuff like that too. Lots of cattle. That's also another way he made his fortune too. He would go out there with them, wrangle them, go out for days and days, weeks on end, helping them bring herds and everything in. If you didn't like your steak bloody, he wouldn't talk to you.
You were gone.
You were gone immediately.
Bye-bye.
This is the type of man he was.
He wanted it nice, perfectly medium rare.
And he
on the more rare side.
His ketchup on it and his Heinz mustard.
He sure loved ketchup.
Yeah, ketchup and mustard.
There was ketchup on the table that had been there for a very, very long time. Very long time.
And that's what inspired Duckula.
Yes.
Did you know that ketchup was originally put out as a medication? They were called tomato pills.
So we just really took over now. I am so sorry,
Probably because of the vitamin C. Probably because of the vitamin, like for scurvy and stuff.
There's a whole lot of sugar. There's more sugar in ketchup than there is in ice cream.
This ketchup now, not the old ketchup. Sorry.
Yeah.
We took over.
I bet that's what it was intended for to begin with some sort of scurvy treatment or something because of the vitamin C. You know, I guess lemons and stuff would have just as much. I don't know.
Just eat the
That's
rind,
what pirates
guys.
had.
Yep, lemons, oranges.
All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and is everybody ready for me to do this last story because my electronic is gonna die.
Yep.
Okay. All right. So I had to end this out with, of course, one of my favorite Gothic writers, which is, of course, M.R. James. This is from a collection of ghost stories of his from 1931, and it is called The Wailing Well. And it's a short story, but it's still a wee bit long. In the year 1900, there were two members of the troop of scouts attached to a famous school, named respectively Arthur Wilcox and Stanley Judkins. They were the same age, boarded in the same house, and were in the same division, and naturally were members of the same patrol. They were so much alike in appearance as to cause anxiety and trouble and even irritation to the masters who came in contact with them. But oh, how different they were in their inward man or boy. It was Arthur that had the headmaster said, looking up with a smile as the boy entered the chambers. Why, Wilcox, there will be a deficit in the prize fund if you stay here much longer. Here, take this handsome bound copy of the life and works of Bishop Kent. And with it, my hearty congratulations to yourself and your excellent parents. It was Wilcox again, whom the provost noticed as he passed through the playing fields, and paused for a moment to observe the vice provost. That lad has a remarkable brow. Indeed, yes, said the vice provost. It denotes either genius or water on the brain. As a scout, Wilcox secured every badge and distinction for which he completed. The cookery badge, the map-making badge, the life-saving badge, the badge for picking up bits of newspaper, the badge for not slamming the door when leaving pupil room, and many others. Of the life-saving badge, I may have a word to say when it comes to treat of Stanley Judkins. You cannot be surprised to hear that Mr. Hope Jones added a special verse to each of his songs in condemnation of Arthur Wilcox, for that the lower master burst into tears when handing him the Good Conduct Medal in its handsome claret colored case. The medal, which had been unanimously voted on to him by the whole third form, ununanimously, did I say? I am wrong. There was one distinction. Judkins, who said that he had excellent reason for acting as he did. He shared, it seems, a room with this major. Who cannot again wonder that in after years Arthur Wilcox was the first and so far the only boy to become captain of both the school and of the Opidans, or that the strain of carrying out the duties of both positions, coupled with the ordinary work of the school, was so severe that a complete rest for 6 months, followed by a voyage around the world, was pronounced as absolute necessity by the family doctor. It would be a pleasant task to trace the steps by which he attained the giddy eminence he now occupies. But for the moment, enough of Arthur Cox. Time presses, and we must turn to a different matter, the career of Stanley Judkins. Stanley Judkins, like Arthur Wilcox, attracted the attention of the authorities, but in quite another fashion. It was to him that the lower master said with no cheerful smile, "What again, Judkins? A very little persistence in this course of conduct, my boy, and you will have cause to regret that you ever entered this academy. There, take that, and think yourself very lucky you don't get that and that." It was Judkins again whom the provost that caused to notice as he passed through the playing fields, when a cricket ball struck him with considerable force on the ankle, and a voice from a short way off cried, "Thank you, Cutover, I think," said the provost, pausing for a moment to rub his ankle. That boy had better fetch his cricket ball for himself." "Indeed, yes," said the vice provost. "And if he comes within reach, I will do my best to fetch him something else." As a scout, Stanley Judkins secured no badges save for those which he was able to abstract from members of other patrols. In the cookery competition, he was detected trying to introduce squibs to the Dutch oven of the next door competitor. In the tailoring competition, he succeeded in sewing two boys together very firmly, with disastrous effects when they tried to get up. For the tidiness badge, he was disqualified because in midsummer school time, which chanced to be hot, he could not be dissuaded from sitting with his fingers in the ink, as he said, for coolness sakes. For one piece of paper which he picked up, he must have dropped at least 6 banana skins or orange peels. Aged women, seeing him approaching, would beg him with tears in their eyes not to carry their pails of water across the road. They knew too well that the results would be what their results would inevitably be. But was in the life-saving competition that Stanley Judkins' conduct was most blamable and had the most far-reaching effect. The practice, as you know, was to throw a selected lower boy of suitable dimensions, fully dressed, with his hands and feet tied together, into the deepest part of a cuckoo weir, and to time the scout whose turn it was to rescue him. On every occasion when he was entered for this competition, Stanley Judkins was seized at the critical moment with a severe fit of cramp, which caused him to roll on the ground and utter alarming cries. This naturally distracted the attention of those presented from the boy in the water, and it not been for the presence of Arthur Wilcox, the death roll would have been a heavy one. As it was, the lower master found it necessary to take a firm line and say that the competition must be discontinued. It was in vain that Mr. Beasley Robinson represented to him that in 5 competitions, only 4 lower boys had actually succumbed. The lower master said that he would be the last to interfere in any way with the work of the scouts, but that 3 of these boys had been valued members of his choir, and both he and Dr. Lay felt that the inconvenience caused by the losses outweighed the advantage of the competitions. Besides, the correspondence with the parents of these boys had become annoying and even distressing, and they were no longer satisfied with the printing form which he was in the habit of sending out. And more than one of them had actually visited Eton and taken up much of his valuable time with complaints. So the life-saving competition is now a thing of the past. In short, Stanley Judkins has no credit to the scouts, and there was talk on more than one occasion of informing him that his services were no longer required. This course was strongly advocated by Mr. Lambert, but in the end, milder counsel prevailed, and it was decided to give him one last chance. So it is that we find him at the beginning of the midsummer holidays of 1900 at the Scouts camp in the beautiful district county. It was a lovely morning, and Stanley Judkins and 1 or 2 of his friends, for he still had friends, lay basking on the top of the down. Stanley was laying on his stomach with his chin propped on his hand, staring into the distance. "I wonder what that is," he said. "Which place?" said one of the others. "That sort of clump in the middle of the field down there." "Oh, how should I know what it is?" "What do you want to know for?" said another. "I don't know. I like the look of it. What's it called?" "Nobody got a map?" said Stanley. "Call yourselves scouts. Geesh." "There's a map all right," said Wilfred Pipsqueak, ever resourceful, "and there's the place marked on it. But it's inside a red ring. We can't go there." "Who cares about a red ring?" said Stanley, "but it's got no name on your silly map." "Well, you can ask the old chap what it is called if you're so keen to find out." This old chap was an old shepherd who had come up and was standing behind them. "Good morning, young gents," he said. "You got a fine day for your doings, ain't you?" "Yes, thank you," said Alragon de Montmorency with native politeness. Can you tell us what that clump over there is called and what that thing is inside it? Of course I can tell you, said the shepherd. That's the Wailing Well, that is. But you ain't got no call to worry about that. Is it a well in there? Said Alronon. Who uses it? The shepherd laughed. Bless you, he said. There ain't from a man to a sheep in these parts uses the Wailing Well, nor haven't done in all the years I've lived here. Well, there'll be a reckoning broken to today then, said Stanley Judkins, because I shall go and get some water out of it for tea. Sakes alive, young gentleman, said the shepherd in a startled voice. Don't you get to talking that way. Why ain't your masters give you notice not to go there? They'd ought to have done that. Yes, they have, said Wilfred. Shut up, you ass, said Stanley Judkins. What's the matter with it? Isn't the water good? Anyhow, if it was boiled, it would be all right. I don't know as there anything much wrong with the water, said the shepherd. All I know is my dog wouldn't go through the field, let alone me or anyone else that got a morsel of brains in their head. More fool them, said Stanley Judkins, at once rudely and ungrammatically. Who ever took a harm going there, he added. 3 women and a man, said the shepherd gravely. Now just you listen to me. I know these 'ere parts and you don't, and I can tell you this much. For these 10 years past, there ain't been a sheep fed in that field, nor a crop raised off of it, and it's good land too. You can pretty well see from here what a state it's gotten into with brambles and suckers and trash of all kinds. You've got a glass, young gentleman, he said to Wilfred. You can tell with it that way. Yes, said Wilfred, but I see there's tracks in it. Someone must go through there sometimes. Tracks, said the shepherd. I believe you, 4 tracks, 3 women and a man. What do you mean, 3 women and a man, said Stanley, turning over for the first time and looking at the shepherd. He had been talking with his back to him this entire time. He was an ill-mannered boy, after all. Mean? Why, what I said, 3 women and a man. Who are they? Asked Alronon. Why do they go there? There's some, perhaps, could tell you who they was, said the shepherd, but it was afore my time they come to their end, and why they goes there still, more than the children of men can tell, except I've heard it was all bad uns when they was alive. By George, what a rum thing, Algernon and Wilfred muttered, but Stanley was scornful and bitter. Why, you don't mean they're dealers? What rot! You must be a lot of fools to believe that. Who's ever seen them? I'd like to know. I've seen 'em, young gentleman, said the shepherd. Seen 'em from near by on that bit of down, and my dog, if he could speak, he'd tell you he's seen 'em the same time. About 4 o'clock of the day it was, much such a day as this. I see 'em, each one of 'em, come peering out of the bushes and standing up and working their way slowly by them tracks towards the trees in the middle where the well is. And what were they like? Do tell us, said Algernon and Wilfred eagerly. Rags and bones, young gentleman, all 4 of 'em, fluttering rags and whitey bones. It seemed to me as if I could hear 'em clacking as they got along. Very slow they went, and looking from side to side. What were their faces like? Could you see? They hadn't much to call faces, said the shepherd, but I could seem to see that they had teeth. Lord, said Wilfred, and what did they do when they got to the trees? I can't tell you that, sir, said the shepherd. I wasn't for staying in that place, and if I had, I was bound to look to my old dog. He was gone. Such a thing he never done before as leave me, but gone he had, and when I caught up with him in the end, he was in that state he didn't know me and was fit to fly at my throat. But I keep on talking to him, and after a bit he remembered my voice, and came creeping up like a child, asking pardon. I never want to see him like that again, nor yet no other dog. The dog, who had come up and was making friends all round, looked up at his master and expressed agreement that with what he was saying was very fully true. The boys pondered for some moments on what they had heard, after which Wilfred said, "That's why it's called a Wailing Well? If you was around here at dusk of a winter's evening, you wouldn't want to ask why," was all the shepherd said. "Well, I don't believe a word of it," said Stanley Judkins, "and I'll go there next chance I get. Blowed if I don't." "Then you won't be ruled by me," said the shepherd, "nor yet by your masters as warned you off. Come now, young gentleman, you don't want for sense, I should say. What should I want telling you a pack of lies? It ain't a sixpence to me, ain't anyone going in that field, but I would like to see a young chap snuffed out. I wouldn't like to see a young chap snuffed out in his prime." "I expect it's a lot more than a sixpence to you," said Stanley. "I expect you got a whiskey still or something in there and want to keep other people away. Rot, I call it. Come on back, you boys." So they turned away, and the two others said good evening and thank you to the shepherd, but Stanley said nothing. The shepherd shrugged his shoulders and stood where he was looking after them rather sadly. On the way back to camp, there was a great argument about it, and Stanley was told as plainly as he could be told all the sorts of fools he would be if he went to the Wailing Well. That evening, among their notices, Mr. Beasley Robinson asked if all maps had got the red ring marked on them. "Be particular," he said. "Do not trespass inside it." Several voices, among them the sulky one of Stanley Judkins, said, "Why not, sir?" "Because not," said Mr. Beasley Robinson, "and if that isn't enough for you, I can't help it." He turned and spoke to Mr. Lampert in a low voice, and then said, "I'll tell you this much. We've been asked to warn scouts off that field, and it's very good if people to let us camp here at all, and the least we can do is oblige them. I'm sure you'll agree to that." Everyone said yes, sir, except Stanley Judkins, who was heard muttering, "Oblige them be blowed." Early in the afternoon of the next day, the following dialogue was heard. "Wilcox, is that all your tent there?" "No, sir, Jenkins isn't." "That boy is the most infernal nuisance ever invented. Where do you suppose he is?" "Haven't an idea, sir." "Does anyone else know?" "Sir, I shouldn't wonder if he'd gone to the Wailing Well." "Who's that? Pipsqueak? What's the Wailing Well?" "Sir, it's that place in the field. Sir, it's in a clump of trees in a rough field." "Do you mean inside the red ring? Good heavens! What makes you think he's gone there?" "Well, he was terribly keen to know about it yesterday, and we were talking to a shepherd man, and he told us a lot about it and advised us not to go there. But Jenkins didn't believe him and said he meant to go." "Young ass," said Mr. Hope Jones. "Did he take anything with him?" "Yes, I think he took some rope and a can. We did tell him he'd be a fool to go." "Little brute. What the deuce does he mean by pinching stores like that?" "Well, come along, you three. We must see after him. Why can't people keep the simplest orders? What was it the man told you?" Don't wait. Let's have it as we go along." And off they started, Algernon and Wilfred talking rapidly, and the other two listening with growing concern. At last they reached that spur of down overlooking the field of which the shepherd had spoken the day before. It commanded the place completely. The well inside the clump of bent and gnarled Scottish firs was plainly visible, and so were the 4 tracks winding all about among the thorns and rough growth. It was a wonderful day of shimmering heat. The sea looked like a floor of metal, and there was no breath of wind, and they were all exhausted when they got to the top and flung themselves down on the hot grass. "Nothing to be seen of him yet," said Mr. Hope Jones, "but we must stop here a bit. You're done up, not to speak of me. Keep a sharp lookout," he went on after a moment, and I thought I saw the bushes stir. Yes, said Wilcox, so did I. Look! No, that can't be him. It's somebody, though, putting their heads up, isn't it? I thought it was, but I'm not sure. Silence for a moment, and then, that's him, sure enough, says Wilcox, getting over the edge on the far side. Don't you see it? With a shiny thing? That's the can you said he had. Yes, it's him, and he's making straight for the trees, said Wilfred. And at this moment, Alragon, who had been staring with all his might, broke into a scream. What's that on the track? On all fours? Oh, it's a woman! Oh, don't let me look at her! Don't let it happen! And he rolled over, clutching at the grass and trying to bury his head in it. Stop that, said Mr. Hope Jones loudly, but it was no use. Look there, he said. I must go down there. You stop there, Wilfred, and look after that boy. Wilcox, you run as hard as you can to the camp and get some help. They ran off, both of them. Wilfred was left alone with Alragon and did his best to calm him, but indeed he was not much happier himself. From time to time he glanced down the hill and into the field. He saw Mr. Hope Jones drawing nearer at a swift pace, and then to his great surprise he saw him stop, look up and round about him, and turn quickly off at an angle. What could be the reason? He looked at the field, and there he saw a terrible figure, something in ragged black, with whitish patches breaking out of it. The head perched on a long, thin neck, half hidden by a shapeless sort of a blackened sunbonnet. The creature was waving thin arms in the direction of the rescuers, who was approaching, as if to ward him off. And between the two figures, the air seemed to shake and shimmer as he had never seen it. As he looked, he began himself to feel something of waviness and confusion in his brain, which made him guess what might be the effects on someone within closer range of the influence. He looked away hastily to see Stanley Judkins making his way pretty quickly towards the clump, and in a proper scout fashion, inevitably picking his steps with care to avoid treading on snapping sticks or being caught by arms of brambles. Eventually, though he saw nothing, he suspected some sort of ambush and was trying to go noiselessly. Wilfred saw all that, and he saw more too. With a sudden and dreadful sinking at the heart, he caught sight of someone among the trees, waiting, and again of someone, another of the hideous black figures, working slowly along the track from another side of the field, looking from side to side, as the shepherd had described it. Worst of all, he saw a fourth, unmistakably a man at one time, rising out of the bushes a few yards behind the wretched Stanley, and painfully, as it seemed, crawling onto the track. On all sides, the miserable victim was cut off. Wilfred was at his wits' end. He rushed at Alragon and shook him. Get up, he said. Yell as loud as you can. Oh, if we had a whistle. Alragon pulled himself together. There's one, he said. Wilcox, he must have dropped it. So one whistled, the other screamed, and in the stirring air the sound carried. Stanley heard. He stopped. He turned around, and then indeed a cry was heard more piercing and dreadful than any that the boys on the hill could raise. It was too late. The crouched figure behind Stanley sprang at him and caught him about the waist. The dreadful one that was standing waving her arms, waving them again, but in exhalation. The one that was lurking among the trees shuffled forward, and she too stretched out her arms as if to clutch at something coming her way. And the other, farthest off, quickened her pace and came on, nodding gleefully. The boys took it all in, and in an instant of terrible silence, and hardly could they breathe as they watched the horrid struggle between the man and his victim. Stanley struck him with a can, the only weapon he had. The rim of a broken black hat fell off the creature's head and showed a white skull with stains that might be wisps of hair. But this time, one of the women had reached the pair and was pulling at the rope that was coiled around Stanley's neck. Between them, they overpowered him in a moment. The awful screaming ceased, and then the three passed within the circle of the clump of firs. Yet for a moment it seemed as if rescue might come. Mr. Hope Jones, striding quickly along, suddenly stopped, turned, seemed to rub his eyes, and then started running towards the field. The boys glanced behind them and so saw not only a troop of figures from the camp coming over the top of the next hill, but the shepherd running up the slope of his own hill. They beckoned, they shouted, they ran a few yards towards him and then back again. He mended his pace. Once more the boys looked towards the field. There was nothing, or was there something among the trees? Why was there a mist around the trees? And Mr. Hope Jones had scrambled over the hedge, and was plunging through the bushes. The shepherd stood beside them, panting. They ran to him and clung to his arms. "They've got him in the trees," was as much as they could say over and over again. "What? Do you tell me he'd gone in there after all I said to him yesterday? Poor young thing, poor young thing." He would have said more, but other voices broke in. The rescuers from the camp had arrived, and a few hasty words, and all were dashing down the hill. They had just entered the field when they met Mr. Hope Jones. Over his shoulder hung the corpse of Stanley Junkins. He had cut it from the branches to which he found it hanging, waving to and fro. There was not a drop of blood in the body. On the following day, Mr. Hope Jones sallied forth with an axe and with expressed intention of cutting down every tree in the clump and of burning every bush in the field. He returned with a nasty cut on his leg and a broken axe heave. Not a spark of firewood could he light, and not one single tree could he make the least impression. I've heard that the present population of the Wailing Well field consists of 3 women, a man, and a boy. The shock experienced by Oregon and Wilfred was severe. Both of them left the camp at once, and the occurrence undoubtedly cast a gloom, if but a passing one, on those who remained. One of the first to recover his spirits was Judkins. Such, gentlemen, is the story of the career of Stanley Judkins and of a proportion of the career of Arthur Wilcox. And it has, I believe, never been told before. If it was a moral, that moral is, I trust, obviously. If it has none, I do not well know how to help it. The end.
Yay! That was rad.
That was a good one.
So, and now my phone is almost dead.
I have to pee.
Don't say
and
that.
I need a drink of water.
Oh, great. Tyler's going to come in now.
All
Okay.
right.
It was amazing.
So did we make it to Halloween?
Yeah. Well,
Well,
on
not
your
for
guys'
us.
side,
On our end, yeah.
Yeah.
Modern Warfare
12:20.
2 for a couple hours before it's Halloween.
Happy Halloween, everybody!
Happy Halloween!
Woo! Happy Halloween!
I do want to say one thing real fast. I know we all have to go here, and I know your battery's dying. Halloween technically is done for us here at Psycho Bunny because we're not doing anything else tomorrow.
Well,
We're doing family stuff tomorrow. Everything we're going to go on. We're Kyle and myself. We're going to go visit some haunts, hang out with the family and stuff like that. I'm pretty sure the same thing with Odd Mother here and Raz.
I'm doing a wedding as Beetlejuice tomorrow.
oh yeah.
Oh,
How
that's
about that?
rad.
Right.
That's so cool. So it's all personal stuff tomorrow for us. So this is our Halloween season.
We're going back to that
Spooky
haunt that I worked at yesterday.
Spooky season is not over with
Because we're always in spooky season.
until, honestly, the real spooky season for us is not in until Krampusnacht.
No,
So-
actually after Krampusnacht.
After Krampusnacht, there is still a ton of spooky tales to tell. And there he popped up.
Tomorrow, Stephen P. Kitty Cat has his show, guys.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
I forgot about that. I apologize. Tomorrow night, guys, Spooky Tales with Stevie Cat and yes. But and then after that, You Can't Sit With Us. We are November with You Can't Sit With Us, we are starting our Satanic Panic series, which is part 20,000 of the human trafficking stuff. And then
I think also on Thursday, the LA podcast will probably do something Halloween themed.
Yeah.
Oh, that would be fun. That would be fun.
Double check, but I'm pretty sure we're gonna make that change.
Okay.
We are going to end everything. I know with the You Can't Say With Us podcast. We're gonna in December. The first season is going to end with the very brutal serial killer, very interesting serial killer. I think I brought him up before, but listen, if you don't remember it, we're just going to keep everything quiet about it. So,
and I've got the happy news that Odd Mother's responsibilities in the cemetery are actually, I'm going to have a more set schedule, and I'm going to have more time to be here with everybody like I used to. So I can actually start doing more planned shows. I am so excited.
I'm excited.
We're excited.
I am too.
This is gonna be great. So
I miss everybody all the time, every day.
Exactly.
We're tired of getting together and talking about human trafficking and child trafficking. We just want to talk about some fun stuff for a change. I'm kidding.
My face itches.
Wait, that stuff's not fun.
No.
Well, I think Mother de la Morte lost signal.
That is a cool pic, though.
I wish I could keep that.
I think we can.
Screenshot.
I'm trying.
Screenshot. Hurry. Do it.
Windows.
Dude, we're going to do this. Screenshot. And we got it. Yes.
Yes.
Oh, that is a cool freaking pic. But I think now I think Odd Mother's phone just died, and that means we are done.
Yay! I kept it.
This is
a cool pic.
Yes.
Yay! All right, guys. Well,
this was the horror gallery. This was Odd Mother's horror gallery, and we are.
Her phone died.
And we are ending right now.
Well, I just gotta find an outro. Okay, bye, guys.
Bye.